just don't know. I don't know. I'm looking, yeah.
Wow. Marc Clarke, that's classic. I love it.
And good morning and welcome to the show. So glad you are with us this morning. For those who are watching live, what's up? For those who are watching later on, what's up? Special guest this morning is an amazing young lady. She's the CEO of Mission Key Communications, a PR firm, but that's not all. She does a whole bunch of things, doing an amazing job out there. Samantha McCoy joins us on the Marc Clarke Show. What's up, Samantha? How are you?
Hi, Mark. How are you? Thanks so much for having me.
I'm so excited. I reached out. Samantha's like, yeah, Marc, why not? I'm busy, but I can hop on and we can chop it up. So, Samantha, I saw you on Instagram doing what you do. And I was, as I dabble in my entrepreneurial journey, I'm starting to see, as a communicator, how important PR, communications, marketing, social media marketing, it's huge.
Yes.
And I wanted to get you on to kind of talk about it. I know, like, I deal with a lot of, I call them partners, or some say clients. And what I'm realizing, Samantha, is even some well-established businesses don't have a great PR arm, don't have a great system of communications. And as somebody who's in media, Samantha, I'm really realizing how it is such a huge player. You know, people are, I think, our experience with President Trump made some of us aware of how powerful messaging is. And now we see that Elon Musk is going to buy Twitter. And it's so interesting because I think people are like, and again, when you have the power of the microphone or the camera, you can kind of point the conversation how you want to point it.
Exactly.
But the reality is, Samantha, what we know as communicators is, as Trump knew, the power of having a platform that reaches millions, if not billions of people. You can do a whole bunch with that. It ain't based on facts. It ain't based on truth, but it's based on its influence. And so, first of all, that's a lot. And I'm sorry, Samantha, I talk a lot.
No,
welcome to the
great.
show. Welcome to the show. And so tell us about you, tell us about your company, and we'll start there.
Sure. Well, thank you so much again, Mark, for having me on. And as you said, I have my own public relations agency, Mission Key Communications. And what we do is we equip entrepreneurs and leaders to increase their visibility. And we do that in two ways. One is through public relations, and two is through personal branding strategies. And I actually love, Mark, that you started out talking about the different pieces of the communications team, if you will. So not just public relations, but also the marketing, social media. And so I would love to just drop a definition of public relations and marketing, just so that people understand a little bit of those nuances. So public relations, what that is it's really about audience awareness, and then also about reputation management. So talking about increasing an audience awareness of who you are and what you do, and then also making sure that you have a favorable reputation in the marketplace. And then the marketing arm is really identifying who your audience is and where you hang out. So in businesses, depending on how businesses are structured, they can either have two separate teams, a public relations team and a marketing team, or you can combine both of them together. So I just like to have those definitions just so people understand, what the differences are between the two.
Okay, and you know what? Let's revisit, because I'm taking notes and about to hire you anyway. So, okay, Samantha. So once again, PR is, once again, do that for us again, because everybody get your pens out. Let's take notes. Edward says,
Sure.
I like it. Yes. So
Yes.
PR
is about awareness, audience awareness, and reputation management. That's the short definition. So it's about increasing audience awareness about who you are and what you do. And then the reputation management piece is keeping your reputation favorable in the marketplace. So once you identify your audience, you want to ask yourself, what perception do they have of us, and what are we doing to make sure that what people are saying, what people are thinking about us is favorable. And then on the marketing, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Samantha, stop right there. So Samantha,
Sure.
what I'm doing, sadly, and this is really sad, it's really sad, but I'm putting the spotlight on me and my brand just as an example for those who are watching and for those who have to do the same thing for their business and for their brand, right? So you're right. Okay, so Samantha, for me, awareness and reputation management. So the plus of Allison Seymour and Marc Clarke is we've been in the marketplace forever. So the plus is if you're trying to do something in this marketplace, especially if it's DC, if it's Baltimore, Marc Clarke and the Big Fat Morning Show, which that was kind of the past, but it still had a big impact, since I was there for 10 years. That's a player. And then in DC, obviously, Allison, my wife, who's still on television, which is interesting though, Samantha. What we're learning though is she was at Fox for 20 years, and many people don't even realize she's still in the marketplace. So it's interesting. Like that speaks to, even though Allison's on television every day in the DMV, many people thought when she left Fox after 20 years that she was no longer on television. So that speaks to how important it is to have a way to get it out there, because that's somebody who's on television every day. So imagine if you have a business or if you're a person getting your message, how challenging that is. So boom. Now, reputation management, again, talking about Marc Clarke and then my wife, Allison Seymour. The good news is that I think our reputation is that it's family, it's funny, it's probably real, it's probably high character, and it's probably kind of laid back and non-problemic. So that's not even a word. But the good news about that for us is, why would you? Everybody wants to be associated with a brand that's that, family, healthy, positive, blah, blah, blah. But then back to what you're saying about marketing, that's all well and good. But are you doing anything that's pushing it out there so people are aware that you can offer that? So then, Samantha, the marketing piece, and now go ahead and define the marketing piece.
Yes. So the marketing piece is really looking into that audience. So you can't talk to an audience you don't have, right? So you have to identify who is my target. And sometimes people get a little bit confused because there's like, oh my goodness, I might have multiple targets. That's okay. But you need to identify who those are. You don't want to say, oh, we want to reach everyone, because that's so generic. It's not going to help shape your messaging. So one of the things that you can do is identify one target audience or maybe two target audiences that you want to reach, and then let that shape and drive the rest of your messaging. So the marketing side is who your audience is, and then you want to know where they hang out. And the reason that you want to know where they are is because, as you know, there are so many digital platforms and opportunities to put your message out there. And especially if you have a lean team, you don't want to stretch them trying to post on 100 different platforms every single day. So what you want to do is you want to start where your audience is the strongest and start and hang out there. And then you can expand from there so that you don't have to be overwhelmed trying to do everything when that may not be the best use of your resources.
And so, Samantha, again, we're talking with Samantha McCoy, again, obviously an expert. I love this, Samantha. Look at God. And Samantha, so yesterday I interviewed Wes Moore, who is a candidate for governor of Maryland. And again, couple things. Wes Moore he's amazing, and again, we know elected officials, we know, blah, 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 and again, but he genuinely is. Not only is he amazing, I mean, you have this young family man, African-American, who basically unheard of background. I mean, you got the connection with the people, you got the Rhodes Scholar, you got went to junior college and then become a Rhodes Scholar after you went, Oxford, okay, military service, and not just in a room, real military service, sat at the feet of Condoleezza Rice, so across parties. So this guy, it's crazy. And then the wife, Dawn, amazing, from New York, you know, fly, but also connected to the community. So, but last night on Instagram, when we had our conversation, you know, Samantha, I'm looking at the numbers. Sadly, even though I have, you know, over 13,000 followers, not the 50,000 plus that Allison has, but when I'm looking at the numbers, Samantha, it's like, you know, 40, 50 people, right? So a part of me was like, I don't say felt bad, but you know what I mean? A part of me was like, this great conversation, this great message, I would have loved it to be thousands of people. If 1/3 of my followers had been tuned into this message, because this guy could change the world, right? But it was just a reminder, just like my show. I think, you know, normally Bootsy Vegas is my co-host. What I love about our show is we have real conversations. We have, we're you know, it's very transparent, and we give you time to have these kind of things. As you know, Samantha, you do this all the time. The window is usually on television or whatever, 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Yes.
So you really don't get a lot done. Which you already, Samantha, you broke down something that even people like me who are in the business are unclear on, you know. And the beauty of it is, as people who watch this, whenever they watch it, they say, wow, that's Samantha McCoy. She knows what she's talking about. Because let's keep it real, Samantha. A lot of people right now are saying they do what you do, but what they're not doing is doing exactly what you just did at first. And that makes me so excited, because from the rip, you say, Mark, you put it in context. That's what's missing, I think. You know, boom, I have a PR company. Okay, I have a marketing company. Oh, I have a so-and-so company. Okay, what does that mean? Bam, you told us off the rip what that means, right? So, Samantha, this world, what I'm really realizing with social media, the blessing that this kind of happened after COVID, on these type of shows, and even shows that are, you know, I guess on traditional platforms, you're doing virtual guests, you're doing virtual conversations. So it kind of creates, you really understand the importance of messaging and how powerful things can be, because some businesses that have pivoted because of COVID have really like gone through the roof. They have more business now than they ever had before. Why? Because their messaging matched what people needed. People are inside their homes. They say, I want a steak. I want some wings. The restaurants that got the message to the people, like you said, they knew their target audience. They were on the platforms that those people use. They blew up.
Yep.
Some other businesses had to close their doors and shutter their doors. And they say, oh, this thing closed my business. Actually, probably what closed your business was you didn't have a clear message. You weren't hitting the right people. You didn't know. You weren't asking that questions. Well, Samantha, who are my people? Who wants a steak? They say that Outback came up during this because, and I was thinking about it, it makes sense, because sometimes you wanted more than just some wings, more than just a pizza. You wanted a steak. You wanted a little bit more, a substantial meal. And so people are like, we'll pay for it if I could just get it. And I think Outback pivoted and made it happen, right? The pizza places and the fast food places, I get that. But the traditional places that didn't do it, they shut their doors. So, Samantha, for someone like you who obviously is good at what you do, and I know a lot of people are businesses who listen, or people who have business. One thing I know happens with you, so I don't even know your pricing, Samantha, but you meet with somebody, you have a consultation, and you say, okay, Marc Clarke Media, this is what it's going to take for you to accomplish what you want to accomplish. Then I say, oh, okay, Samantha. Oh, I wasn't planning on spending that much, Samantha. Can I put a little something on it? So, Samantha, talk to us about businesses and the hesitancy of understanding the value of what you do.
Yes, and I love that you asked that question. And I'm going to say, definitely, as you said earlier, public relations is such an important investment, really at every level of business. And because it is really the foundation of getting your message out, getting your products and your services out into the marketplace. And so you really don't want to wait. Some people wait until, oh, we're 2 days before a launch, or we're 2 weeks before the launch. Let's hurry up and rush this PR team in to work some magic. But it really is a process. And so you want to be thinking about it at every stage in your business. So one of the things that is challenging though is, especially when you are starting out in business, your resources are limited. And so a lot of times you're thinking, okay, I don't know if I can afford to invest in these services right now, even though it sounds great, it looks great, but my resources are limited. So one of typically for a public
Okay, well, it looks like we had a little technical glitch, but I'm sure she will be back. And I think what's going on, Ange? I think one thing that I'm really learning about we talk about messaging and these different platforms, and many of us, we do these shows, we have our posts on these different platforms, and I think don't get caught up on the numbers of people. If people don't like your things, or people don't, if you're doing lives and you don't have a whole bunch of numbers, don't get caught up on that. Keep on delivering your message, because believe it or not, people end up watching it, seeing it, even if they don't see it when you posted it. I posted years ago on YouTube when I did a juice fast, and I still get that still gets conversation years later for people who just discovered it, for people who just came upon it. So that's one thing I've learned over these years is keep posting your content, keep putting it out there. Sandra, I see you on here. Yeah, Sandra has, because good information is just good information. I had on, the different guests that I've had on over time, I find myself, I go back, like Alex Slocum was on with the GOPX token. I go back and watch that interview for things that he said back then that I'm comparing to now. I go back and look at some of my, interviews with some of my favorite celebrities, just to really see a perspective. So yeah, if you're out there, if you're posting, if you have projects, if you have a business, I don't care if it looks like it's not taking hold. Keep on posting, especially if you have a business or you're offering a service, because you never know when people are going to see you and call you. Again, Samantha, I just hit her because I saw her on Instagram. And, we've had so many guests like that. And, don't know them, just looked at I looked at their site, I looked at what their content, I looked at their background, and that made me say, hey, this is somebody I think I can align with based on what their presentation looks like. So a lot of times, many of us, and I'm guilty of it too, sometimes our presentation or how our platform looks, or the packaging is not up to par, or it's not representing what you're bringing. You know what I mean? Sometimes so you got a Mercedes, but your packaging is screaming GM's, American made. No, I'm joking. American Motors. I only say American Motors because I grew up with a Matador, an AMC Matador. Now, for those who are not old enough to know, the Pacer, the Matador, and the Gremlin, American Motors, they were trash cars. Okay, so I use that example. Not cars that are made in America. It was a specific brand. I'm just saying, the packaging, and that's what a Samantha can bring to the table. Now, again, I think Samantha's having some technical difficulties. I might need to send her. Hopefully we didn't lose her. She was so good off the rip. There she is. Samantha is back.
Hi, I'm so sorry. My camera just completely died on me, so I apologize.
No problem. You back and looking great as ever. And so go ahead, Samantha. We were talking about the
we were talking about the value and pricing. So so typically across our industry, in order to have a public relations agency on retainer, that is typically a 4-figure investment per month. Now, the value and the benefit of our agency, Mission Key Communications, is that we understand that there are different entry points for people at different levels of business. And so what we do is we offer a variety of packages. So if you are a small business owner, you're just starting out and you're saying, I know that I need to be thinking about public relations as soon as my business opens my doors, but I'm not quite ready to get an agency on retainer yet. We have one-time 1-hour consultation sessions that you can book with us, and it's no long-term commitment. You can talk to us, talk to our team, get to know what public relations is, how it can help you, what you need to be thinking about. And that's just a 1-hour long session. So that's one package that we offer. We also offer a consultation package where if you may have a communications director, but you're saying, okay, we want to get a little bit more, we want to give that director a little bit more support, or we want to give our team a little bit more support. We want to have some expert advisors come in and look at what we've done so far and be able to give us some guidance on what we can do moving forward to achieve our goals. So we also have consultation packages where we can come and meet with your team a few times during the month, and we'll meet with you and then we'll give you homework, if you will, and you can check back in with us. So that's a second level of service. And then we also offer our full service option when you are ready to bring an agency on retainer and you want the full, all the works, then we have the package for that as well.
Again, Samantha, for whatever reason, I am so, I'm kind of like, I'm starting to just understand, like we talked about the importance of it, the communication piece, because I for whatever reason, I guess maybe because I was doing TV recently or whatever, I'm noticing I'm just hearing messaging more, and I'm hearing how we're in an interesting space where people give you, first of all, as I mentioned before, context is like missing now, and they give you kind of half the story by just giving you they give you half the story by not just giving you the whole story, so it's almost like I think about the perspective. You see these stories and a part of you be like, now, especially when it's the news, I hate to say it, but it almost feels like a lot of times the news is playing the same game as advertisers are playing, right? Because so I remember back when the football player got he got some of his salary, and they're doing it now. Some of the players, some people are getting their salary in Bitcoin, right? And so then the news story is like, I think it was Beckham, he got it. And so the news story was almost like, oh, that was a bad thing because Bitcoin is at blank, right? But you're like, Bitcoin is up and down. So Bitcoin can be it's $40,000 today, one Bitcoin, but it could drop down to, $18,000, right? So that actually is not the whole story. It's the story today. Oh, it looks like Odell Beckham made a bad decision by having a salary in Bitcoin because it dropped to an all-time low of 14. Okay, well now today it's at 40. So are they? If you understand what Bitcoin is, then you would be like, that doesn't make any sense. But most people don't understand it, so it kind of goes on, and so I saw a story the other day on the nuclear power, right? And so people my age, when you say nuclear power, the first thing that pops up is, how do you deal with the nuclear waste? Because it's deadly for 1 billion years. And how do you deal with a meltdown? That if a meltdown happens, we could all die, right? So I'm watching the story, Samantha, and they're like, yeah, it's almost like Sunny Face is like, it's clean, it doesn't damage it doesn't damage the environment, and blah, 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 blah. And then they spent that much time on nuclear waste. And I'm like, what's going on here? So Samantha, you're in the game. What is going on? Are they banking on, and back to Trump, are they banking on how naive the average person is? Is that what's going on? What's going on, Samantha?
You know what, Mark? It's a really great points that you brought up. And I hope my media friends here are not won't take this negatively, but basically the way that I see it is that the media has to really play a game as well, because now that we're in this digital space, it's really all about clicks. It's about how many clicks can my story get? what is the most shocking headline that I can put out here? Because media is getting measured by how many viewers are clicking the stories, how many viewers are sharing the stories. And unfortunately, we like shocking things, sensational things. Like, what's the old saying? If it bleeds, it leads, right? Unfortunately, that is the case. And so a lot of times the media does play a little bit of a game, because they have to position stories in a way that will make people, give them that shock factor so that they want to share it, because that's what impacts the ratings. And so as consumers, we really have to be vigilant and diligent with our news sources. So making sure that we are paying attention to a variety of news sources, not just one, and really doing our own individual due diligence to look at all of the angles. Because as you said, the media story, the one news media outlet is not necessarily going to spend time on all the angles. They're going to spend time on the one that gets the most shock appeal.
Wow. And Samantha, so when we talk about clients, right? So when you meet with this person that does wings, right? They do, and you say, I'm sure you ask, you go down the, okay, what makes your wings special? They say, oh, we have the best tasting wings, and the best tasting wings in America. You're like, okay, so how do you come up with differentiating yourself when let's just use me as an example. Okay, so I meet with you, Samantha. I say, yeah, well, I'm Marc Clarke. I've been doing this for 30 years and blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. But, I only have 5 people to follow me. And you're like, okay, Marc. So how do you break it down, Samantha? Put us inside your head for the process for new clients.
Sure. Yes. So that's really where the personal branding piece comes in. So we talked about PR, we talked about marketing. Personal branding is what I define as that special mix of your knowledge, your skills, your abilities, and your personality that distinguishes you from everyone else. And so that's why we focus with our business owners and executives on really honing in on your personality, honing on those things that make you, because that's what's going to distinguish you from every other media professional, every other talk show host, every other business owner, because you're bringing your personality into it. And so no one else can copy that. They may be in the same profession, they may be in the same industry, but even going back to the wings example, people may taste your wings because they like you. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So they may like how you show up. They may like how you design your restaurant. They may like how you make them feel when they come in. They may like that you remember their name. So there's a lot of things about your own personality that you bring into your business, whatever that is. And so I think it's really taking the time to identify those factors and those elements and saying, how can I continue to let people know about that and let people be attracted to me? So one of the things is we have to not be afraid to show up as the face of our businesses and of our brands. And I know back in the day, even when I started my business, I was coached, get a logo, get your website up, don't show your face. You want people to think that, you're in this huge conglomerate. They don't know who runs it. Like, it's just this big power player with a logo, right? But nowadays, that doesn't really work anymore. People want to know, who am I patronizing from? What values does this business have? What issues do they care about? Do they care about the community that they're part of, or are they just trying to take money from us? People are doing their research and wanting to know a little bit deeper than they have in the past. And so putting that personal element into what you're doing is really going to differentiate you. So what I do with our clients is I really walk them through and say, share about some of the work that you've done in the past, but then tell me what's excited you about that work. What kind of comments have people left you? What kind of feedback have you gotten from satisfied clients and satisfied customers? Why are they still coming back? And really looking at those things and saying, okay, what are the things that we can continue to show and continue to amplify so that people continue to be attracted to that?
It's so interesting. I love this, Samantha. Again, we're going to have you back. I know you have to go. Working on the traditional platforms, I think it's funny how There's like a disconnect. Like I remember when television stations used to, when Twitter was blowing up and people would, tweet whatever. They, before they started to add them on the lower thirds, but they had the Twitter thing, Twitter. They would say, we can't post this. We have to vet this story. It's like, we've come a long way since those days, right? It's like, they're like, I guess it's not. So Samantha, that's not caving in, right? It's really just, would you say it's progress or just adapting to what's really going on? Is that what that would be?
It's adapting. Yeah, a lot of times the market drives industry. And so a lot of times it's like, hey, you can try to take time to vet this. We're already running. We're already racing with this story. People are following us. So the news is now behind. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like these updates are coming in real time, like it or not. So, you're announcing it hours later because you had to go through a vetting process. You can, but that means you're behind. So I really believe the market really drove that adaptation.
And also, Samantha, radio stations to me could use someone like you, because what I hear, that's kind of like it's like you said. So if you're targeting people who are, let's say, 45 to 55, or the demo is 25 to 54, but you're targeting adults, right? And so now, in a minute, you're trying to tell me about a story, and then drive them to the website to see the clip. What I'm noticing is a lot of the talent, it's almost like it's too much. It's you're as the kids say, you're doing too much. It's almost like, because a lot of people in that group that's listening to you have no idea what you're talking about. Now your kids do, they probably can pick it up quicker if you say it right. But those people who are still saying www. They're not gonna go and see this video because they don't know what you just said. You know what I mean? Do you ever hear that and you're like, that didn't go off well?
Yeah, you really have to. I always tell people to practice what you're going to say so it comes out really smoothly. And a lot of times we do media coaching so that people can be ready to give answers like that. Because one even quick thing is you don't have to necessarily say www anymore. Just say the name, missionkeycommunications.com. That's it. People find it. So once you're doing https:/::, like you don't need that. So that's really part of staying current with even how the internet is changing and shifting, and also just being comfortable and being prepared before you go on interviews and saying, okay, how does this sound? Can somebody catch what I'm doing? Do I need to repeat it again? Saying it slower, things like that, so that you can make sure that you're really conveying what you want to say.
So look, Samantha, again, thank you for being on. If people are listening, I know they are. I know I am. I'm excited because you are with so many, not only businesses, but people need. This is a new world, and it's not people. I think our generation is like, oh, the pendulum's going to swing back. Honey, it's moving that way. Okay, it's not going. It goes back to a degree, but I think that's also, I think, something that's changed in this new world, like how things become obsolete. There was a time when you always kind of it may not be here tomorrow. So you have to kind of be forward thinking, and I think you can give us the tools we need to move into this communication world and handle it. So if people wonder, how do people get to you? How do they reach you? How do they book you?
Yes. Now I have to practice what I preach, what I just said, right?
So right. We're watching you.
Yeah. So my website is missionkeycommunications.com. Mission, MISSION, key, KEY, communications with an S.com. missionkeycommunications.com. And my Instagram is where I play a lot, S McCoy Joy, SMCCOY Joy. That is where you can find me. And if you just type my name in Google, Samantha McCoy, I also come up that way. And I would love to be connected with you.
The real McCoy, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much, Samantha. Samantha got clients lined up, so she got to go. All right, Samantha, appreciate you. Thank you so much, and I will be contacting you. We definitely want to partner with you, okay?
Awesome. Would love to stay in touch.
Okay, Samantha
right, take
McCoy
care.
joining us on the show. And again, Bootsy Vegas is, look, Bootsy's out in these streets. He's got getting a haircut, and he's got some political things going on. He's going to be hosting this afternoon. So tomorrow it's Dentist Day for the Marc Clarke Show. We'll be doing, I think I'm going to replay one of our popular shows. And again, seriously, if you guys really reach out to Mission Key Communications, because Samantha is obviously, she knows her stuff. And I just realized how valuable this piece is for business, so of course we're going to be partnering and do some things together. But, if you have a product, if you have a book, if you have something, now you have to really find your target audience, get where they are, and drive that message to them. Okay. I sound like I'm talking for myself. I need to do the same. But I'm just saying, these are the tools. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. And so I will see you guys again. Tomorrow's show is a replay. We'll see you back live on Thursday. Have a blessed day. Take care. If you're watching this live, make sure you subscribe to the channel on YouTube. If you're not, it's another time. Please subscribe to the channel, and thank you for your time. Have a great one, everybody. Be safe out there. I'll see you.